and this is My Slovak Experience.
Hey, it's time for another episode of My Slovak Experience. Today, we go to Kenya to interview Ned, or I should say DJ Ned, who has been living in Slovakia since 2016. Ned, or Nahid Nizar Saburali Mauji, works in an international company, but he's also a professional DJ. So if you're familiar with Bratislavas, enjoying the nightlife, perhaps you have already danced to his music. Ned's first winter in Slovakia was the worst ever. So what convinced him to stay and consider this country his home? Listen to this podcast to find out more. Enjoy, and thank you so much for listening. So I'm here with Nahid Nizar Saburali
Mauji.
Mauji. So-called Ned. So Ned,
Yeah.
welcome to My Slovak
Thank you.
Experience.
Thanks.
For being here.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay.
So now, with for me, but obviously because I'm from a different part of the world,
Right.
That's why it sounds complex, and it's
Yeah.
very hard for me, except if I know. So tell us from where you're from.
So I'm from Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Tanzania, but because my dad is Tanzanian,
Okay.
and but my mom is Kenyan. So we moved to Kenya when I was maybe 1 year old, and because there was like better quality education in Kenya at that time, so we moved there. So I've just grown up in Kenya, and I'm a Kenyan now, even though I was born in Tanzania.
Okay.
And I'm from a small city. It's the third largest city in Kenya. Or it's not super large. It's more populated than Bratislava, and it's by the Lake Victoria, which is shared by.
So it's the north part. Of
No, it's western
Western
Kenya. Yeah, so it's Lake Victoria is shared by Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and so I live along the border. That's where I come from, like the border of the lake, and I literally live by the lake at home, like I'm next to the lake. So it's very cool. So geographically, that's where I'm from.
Okay, and now we are in Slovakia. So
Yeah.
What brought you here?
Well, the simple answer is my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. We met in my city actually. She was working in my city in 2012. We didn't know each other, but I had a DJ residency at a really popular club in the city. And on Thursday nights, I used to do karaoke. So one night she came in with a friend of hers for karaoke. And we just met and started speaking, and now I'm here.
So basically, you were already doing the DJ.
For many years.
Kenya.
That was my primary livelihood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks coming. Or it was like a night shows mostly.
So I used to. Like I mentioned, I had the residency for like 4 years. So I used to play like Thursday, Friday, Saturday at this one place. But also, I had a huge sound system. So I would do events like corporate events, weddings, birthdays, seminars, like everything. So day and night events. It's good. It was pretty busy.
So that was your job. So you met one of those nights.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And from that time, like we got together, but she had to leave because she was there only 6 months, and then we had like a long distance thing. Then she would come for some time, and she would work with some NGOs, and so we would be together. And in 2015, I came for the first time just for a month, like to see if I would be interested in moving here. And it was the summertime, so it kind of sucked me in. It was really nice. Yeah, so that's when I decided, okay, I can like make the move. And basically I moved the year later. the next September. So 2016 September, that's when I actually moved to Slovakia.
It's like 2 years.
Yeah, it's
something.
2 years, 6 months, 7 months, or something like that. Yeah.
So this this kind of move, so it took some time, right?
Right. Yeah.
So tell me first the first impressions when you came to Slovakia.
In regards to like the people, or
Yeah, I mean, how you saw
it's
how you
okay.
like it.
It's really beautiful. I like it a lot because where I come from, it's really beautiful naturally as well. So I really like this place because of the natural beauty. It's the greenery, large open fields, parks you can go to at the river. I like being next to water. But what struck me here is how I want to say how pretty the city is, like the old town. It's not huge, but it's really picturesque. And like this is one of the first things that I really like the cobblestones, the castles, or castles like all over Slovakia, because I've been to quite a few. Yeah, and it's like you're in some kind of Disney movie, just like when you're walking around the street.
Because I think in Kenya there are no castles.
We have forts. We have like forts from the colonial times.
Yeah.
And we don't have a castle, but we have like really large estates where like the colonial governors used to live, or the guys who had like very huge farms. And there, you wouldn't call it a castle, but they had palaces, you could say, like really huge. But they are still private; they're not public, like here.
So you don't go and visit.
No, you cannot. You would not be able. You would not be able to get in unless, like, you know them. You would not be able to get in. Yeah. So my first impression was like really picturesque, really beautiful city. I was really impressed by how many people exercise over here, like on the street. That was new for me. Like people are running, cycling, doing all sorts of like street skateboarding, and so that was pretty interesting. I liked it. It was cool because back home it's not really like if you have a car, you would not cycle or walk because then people would just assume you're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So here you can.
Yeah, like it's very cool because even if you have a car, like you can walk. Like nobody is going to think that like you're too poor to own a car, or like at home there is like it's just in your subconscious, like you have this class kind of system.
Okay.
Like you don't want if you have a car, you don't want to be seen walking around. It's changing now, but
because if you walk, you don't have a car.
Yeah, essentially, like people will just think, hey, like can he not afford fuel, or like what's going on? Like people talk. It's a interesting mentality.
Okay. Because my usual thinking sometimes is, when particularly if you live in a smaller environment or live in a little village, so people that take the car to just bring their kids to kindergarten, and maybe it's just 1 minute walk. You say like, come on, just
like
why do you need to pollute the world? Right? So it's a kind of an.
It's funny. It's like here I would rather take the bus because the traffic is insane. Like the traffic is insane, and it's so much cheaper to use public transport. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I would not even think about using public transport. Yeah. So it was refreshing. I liked it.
And so that was the first impression. So then tell me also the first days or weeks when you effectively came to live in
it was initially it was a bit challenging, of course, like just leaving what you know, and actually before I came, a really short time before I came, I was burgled. Like I wasn't home, but all my music and like all my music equipment and everything that I'd been like I was working on some music on an album and what, so everything, including my backups, like everything was stolen while I was out playing badminton. So when I got home at night, I don't know, maybe 10:30 p.m.
Here in Slovakia?
No, in Kenya, yeah.
Okay.
I suddenly realized that my door had like a large crack in it. So the only thing they didn't steal was my flight ticket. So,
Something like destiny. I had to.
yeah, that
I
was.
don't have anything more
yeah,
that
really,
keeps me here.
it was pretty funny. Yeah. So, anyway, so like this was really this was a huge challenge for me. It really like broke me down because I had some gigs already planned at home, which I had to fulfill because I'd committed that I'm going to play. So my friends helped me out with some music and some equipment, and then the second week that I was in Slovakia, like I'd already booked an event here while I was still at home.
Okay.
So I had prepared everything and I lost everything. So I literally, like, as soon as I came here, I had to figure out, like, I had to get some equipment. I had to get, some music. I had to set myself up. So what I remember from, like, the first couple of weeks was just me trying to set myself up so I don't let people down.
Yeah.
Like, for that first event.
So they can dance. And
Yeah. So, like, literally, this was all I thought about. Before anything else. Then, of course, like looking for a place, figuring out where to stay. And I didn't move to Bratislava initially. Moved to Žilina. My wife is from there. And so we actually moved there and stayed with her mom. And then got married. And then, my wife had already found the place that we were moving to here, but we wanted to redo it, refurnish it, revamp it. And so while that was going on, I would travel from Žilina a couple, it's 2.5 hours by train. And I would come here almost every day and try and go to language school. And
for Slovak?
Yeah, that's a whole other nice story. and then after that, I would go to our apartment now and help the builder take out all the trash, fix stuff, move stuff around, and just basically help renovating the place. And so for a few months, that was my job, literally. I would go to language school. And then go help at home, and then take the train back. And I was traveling 5 hours every 2 days or something. Yeah. It was ridiculous. So
a lot of podcasts, perhaps.
Yes. I love podcasts.
Books.
Yeah, and then after that, we moved to my wife's uncle's place, which is closer to Bratislava. It's called Sladkovičovo. And it's an easier commute.
Sladkovičovo.
Yeah, it's towards Galanta.
Okay.
Like the Hungarian border. And actually guys there speak Hungarian and other residents and Slovak. And so we lived there for a little while because it was closer.
And now you're in Bratislava.
Bratislava, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then eventually moved here as soon as our place was done. Yeah. So, but that was better because it was closer. Yeah.
So and that's no nice that you started learning Slovak. So
yes.
What made you doing it so quickly?
No, I haven't. This is the interesting part. What happened was we booked this language school course, but obviously I didn't know any Slovak at all. So it was supposed to be a beginner's class, but for some reason they put me together with Slavic speakers from Ukraine, Bulgaria, and which other country was there? Ukraine, Bulgaria, was it Croatia or Serbia?
Okay.
So in the class, and that was the first thing. And the second thing was that I ended up starting later, almost 2 months after everyone else, because my return here was kind of delayed. So by the time I came, the rest of the class was way ahead of me because they were already Slavic speakers. So their only issue was the grammar
But then,
pronunciation.
it's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
but
basis,
they understood
so
they understood
it's
everything.
easier
Yeah,
to get it.
and so the teacher would just speak in Slovak. I didn't understand anything, and it was it was super stressful. I didn't know how stressful it could be trying to learn, like when everyone else like leaves you way behind, and you have no idea what's going on. So I didn't learn much. I learned patience. I didn't learn much Slovak. So it was way too much. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to get a job, and then I'll figure out the Slovak later. Yeah, so that's what happened.
Cool. But what? How many languages do you speak now?
Many. So Kenya has 43 to 44 tribes.
Okay.
Now, where I come from, we have a regional dominant tribe called the Luo. So I speak that language. Kenya has two official languages, English and Swahili.
Okay.
So I speak both of those. And then because of my family history, you could say, where my grandparents are from. My grandparents are from India, and they were brought. Okay, at least the Kenyan ones. That's what I know about. They were brought by the British from India to Kenya to work like in a cotton ginnery.
Okay.
In the colonial times.
Interesting.
Yeah. So because of them, I speak a few Indian languages. So I speak maybe 4 and understand maybe 6 or so of those languages. So yeah, we speak many, but it's really normal in Kenya to speak a lot of languages.
But how they differ between each other? So it's
they are like really like worlds apart. It's not like that. It's not like Czech and Slovak.
yeah.
No, these are because we have tribes in Kenya, and they have really different origins. So like where I come from, the dominant tribe are Nilots. Then you have the Bantu, which is the basis for Swahili, one of the base languages. And these are like the dominant tribes, and we have several, but their languages completely differ.
So basically, you mostly, English and Swahili are the main.
Yeah. These are your official languages.
Connection, but everybody is.
Everyone has
something that's very different.
It really depends where you stay. Like if you stay in an area which is dominated by a certain tribe, you would have to learn that language because you want to integrate as well. Like you don't want to be an outsider, you want to be part of the community. And everyone feels more comfortable if you speak their language, or at least make an effort to like speak the language. It is really important. So what's really surprising, like or might be surprising for you, is that at our coast, at the Kenyan coast, a lot of the Kenyans who live there speak Italian fluently.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's a large population of Italians
connected with historical.
It could be historical, but I think it's more. It's a bit more recent. A lot of I would say Italian retirees tend to like move to Kenya and like get property or houses, and so there's a lot of Italian restaurants and.
Interesting.
All the shops
can have a pizza without problem.
It's perfect. It's like my favorite restaurant there is called Agnello's. It's amazing, and you would get in the supermarkets, you would get stuff which you get in Italy, like over there.
And how many Slovaks are in Kenya?
There actually, I would say there are more Slovaks in Kenya than there are Kenyans in Slovakia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they run quite a few missions. And they do good stuff. Like there is, I think there are some faith-based organizations, but there are also some non-faith-based where they're really helping. I have some friends who are involved. My wife was involved with some of them, and they're really like they're trying to do good stuff. They're trying to help people in the north where it's really arid. There's not enough food and water, and they really like attempt to help. Okay. So like I think we're thankful like for the assistance.
And the knowledge of Slovakia as such from your peers?
Oh, no. Literally
if you tell
everyone.
To your friends, like, I'm going to live in Slovakia.
Literally everyone, including my family, they know Czechoslovakia.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. until now, like they would tell me, "Hey, Czechoslovakia, are you in Czechoslovakia?" I'm like, "No, it's not Czechoslovakia." So they don't really know that much. It's not so much general knowledge unless you know somebody here. But it's improving. Like every day, it improves. Like the more people interact, the more they know. But there hasn't been any direct impact, I would say, between the two countries. So it's not that well known. Recently, the Slovak president went to Kenya, and I'm sure that really made a difference because it was in the news, and he met the Kenyan president and so on. So that must have like increased awareness. Yeah.
Good. I mean, the difference as well in dimension. I think Kenya has 50 plus million.
We have like a
people, so it's
heavy
10
population.
Slovakias.
Yeah, I think we are
More.
pretty close to Italy, probably population wise. Like it's really, really huge. Yeah. So from here, big difference.
And how do you deal now with the life in Slovakia, right? So I guess climate and food is kind of a different.
I love the food. I always I'm a big foodie.
Okay.
So here, food is like my favorite thing. Climate not so much, especially obviously in the colder months. It was really different for me. My first winter was my worst winter, and it was in Žilina, which is way colder than Bratislava. And I remember just one day it was minus 19 degrees or minus 19 or minus 21.
Okay.
And I was just like, hey, like let me just go see what it feels like. It was the dumbest decision I made in my life because I was sick for almost 2 weeks after that.
Like
just because
how
of
did you
being
go out, like with
no,
t-shirt
like with the jacket and everything, but just the wind buffeting my face,
Yeah.
and like playing in the snow, and then felt the impact later, like it hit me like a day later. Oh yeah, I was really not ready for it. But since then we have like milder winters. I think we've had not really crazy winters. I've been in Bratislava most of the time. So I'm pretty okay now. Now I'm pretty acclimatized. But I will tell you one thing. You see, like now the sun is shining outside, and this really messes with my head because at home, as soon as I see the sun shining, I just put on shorts, slippers, a t-shirt, and I'm out.
Yeah.
And here I have to like really physically sometimes stop myself from, like if I want to take out the trash or take the dog out in the morning, and I just see the sun shining and I walk out.
Yeah.
And then it hits me because the sun shines in winter as well.
4 degrees. Yeah,
exactly. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah. Also I remember like still from Africa, Maji came to the podcast, and
Right.
she said, even summers are, let's say, a bit warmer in Slovakia, right? So you feel much more the heat.
It's for some reason it's like really I don't know if it's I wouldn't say it's dry, maybe more humid, I'm not so sure, but like you feel like you're boiling over here. Some summers are really ridiculous. Right now the weather is, I hope it'll get warmer, but it's pretty okay now. Like I'm okay with this kind of weather. When it's hot, sometimes it's way too hot. Like really, the pavements melt, or the asphalt. I've seen it melting in summer over here, which is pretty crazy. Like it's that hot.
Yeah, under the continuous rays. And
Exactly. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So while fighting for the climate, what about the life in general, like being in the city? What are the things you spotted immediately? Like this is a different environment, or is it the same thing?
That's there's so much stuff. But I will start with what I was mentioning before, the public transport.
Yeah.
Because back home we have public transport, but it doesn't belong to the government.
Okay.
It's private public. It's like we have minivans, and also larger buses, but like usually minivans which ferry people from like one stop to another, and like you pay to use them, but they are generally like really hectic. It's a huge hassle. They overload them because they want to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And they will stop like anywhere along the road. It doesn't have to stop at, like, they try and make them stop at designated areas. So they're not really very safe. And it's not a very comfortable ride, to be honest. Like, you're packed in like sardines. And here, public transport, it's a different world. I pay, I don't know, like what, I think it's 72 or 73 euros for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I can use any bus or tram within the city at any time, whenever, go wherever I feel like. And it's really, it's such a huge difference. Like, it's so convenient. I can go anywhere at any time when the buses and trams are running, and not worry about a thing. Like, of course, they get busy. There's a lot of people sometimes, but it's not crazy. You're not worried that you'll get pickpocketed or end up in some kind of, well, there are accidents, but like, you're not really stressed all the time. It's quite comfortable, yeah. And I think it's cost effective, so I like it. So this was the first like major difference for me. Second thing is the difference in noise levels. It's very quiet here.
Okay.
It's not like back home. It's very lively. It's energetic. It pulls you in. There's a lot of bustle. Like, people are selling stuff all over the streets. The cars are loud and going past, and people are yelling, and there's life happening everywhere. And it's exciting and it's entertaining. But it's very loud. It's really loud. Like, you can feel the difference. Like, you kind of have to speak up above the din. Whereas here, generally, most of the places you go to are pretty chill, pretty quiet. People are relaxed. Like, the whole market atmosphere is not present unless you go to a market. Whereas there, it's like pretty much everywhere you go, it's pretty loud and dusty and vibrant, and you just see life happening right in front of your eyes. So it's exciting. I like it. I kind of miss that sometimes.
The noise.
Yeah. It's true. Like, sometimes I miss it, but I also like this. I like this because you can be more calm. Yeah, and people walk really fast here.
Okay.
Like, compared to back home, we walk at a very relaxed pace.
You think? I mean, is it
I don't know.
different just point of view? Or then you arrive later? How does it?
I mean, I don't like being late to anything, but I guess like some people do. I know some people here who are late to everything, but I don't know. Just generally, I've noticed like people here tend to walk really quickly, and I have no idea why. Really, no clue why. Like, maybe guys just want to, get stuff done.
So you arrive and then you wait.
Yeah, really. Like, I have no idea, because guys, I don't know. Maybe people are more impatient. I have no idea. But yeah, with us, when you're you're walking somewhere, you're usually like at a more relaxed pace. You could be in a hurry, but you're not. Here, it's like watching the speed walking.
Yeah.
Like, guys are.
It's an interesting observation.
Yeah. This is something I noticed as well. And what else? There's not a lot of cooking on the street. Like back home, every few meters, there's either like fried chicken, roast chicken, goat or fish. Like, there's food like everywhere. Every few minutes, somebody's making chips, or something just by the side of the road, which you don't really see here. And it's just like a little, charcoal stove, usually just by the side of the road, and usually a lady sitting there, with her chicken or fish or meat or whatever, and wrapping it in newspaper. So you buy it. Like, we grew up just eating everything from newspaper, like old newspapers. Yeah. And I used to put like a lot of chili sauce on my fries because I didn't want to share. I didn't want to share them with
only
anyone.
you were the one that could stand.
Yeah, so that was my trick. Yeah, so I don't see that. And sometimes like you get like a craving, like, because I miss this also. and people are quite strict here with time, in the sense that like shops, like if they're going to close at 5, they close at 5. Like it's like really, it's a good thing. But at home, sometimes you can kind of get away with, like, if a restaurant is closing at 9 and you get there at 9, they will still like accommodate you and
come and still have something for you.
yeah. So which you will not see generally here.
Do you also find the customer service different? I had this conversation.
Oh, it's really
every single guest.
Yes. I don't know. It's I don't know how to explain it, because back home, like the treatment of the customer, I had many issues with this when I came here, because I would get frustrated when we go out to eat or drink or anything, and I would get really frustrated because it's like you don't matter as a customer. Like they just ignore you, and you would wait for 20 minutes for service. And whereas back home, wait staff are kind of trained to pull you in. They're like, really nice, come in, like we'll take care of you, like they're with you every step of the way, like what do you need, what do you, like really like yes, like okay, so you will give a tip, but you will feel like the wait staff have earned the tip, like it's really worth it. Whereas here, I know people give a tip, but many people that I've been with, like they will leave a tip, but they're never happy or with the service. I can kind of understand, because I don't think like they're earning that much, but I don't know if that's the reason why. There's a huge difference in service.
Should have never ever asked a waiter how much is the percentage of tip connected with their.
I wonder.
That would be a nice question to ask, maybe.
But even if you go to and this, the one thing I really do have a problem with is when you go to government services, and or even the post office, government offices, and they just like kind of ignore you, or they just discard you, like they're not really concerned, which is really different. Like especially like in Kenya, if you're paying for something, usually you will have an opinion if somebody doesn't take it as seriously as you expect them to. Like people they would tell off like a government employee or somebody in customer service business. Like, hey, like I'm paying for this. Like I expect some level of service. Healthcare is definitely better, like and cheaper than back home. But the attitude, like it's different. I don't want to say that it's worse or whatever, but it's different. Yeah.
And but you were working as well in Kenya, right? So
yes.
Work environment, is it also?
It's I was lucky because I was doing like every job that I did was something that I really liked. So it's competitive. It's really competitive. Like you have to be good or deliver, some kind of results. But maybe because I was back home, like it just felt so much nicer. And also, like I said, doing stuff that I like, because I was working in a hotel, a resort, and it's just DJ? Beautiful. Yeah,
as a DJ.
Not just as a DJ. I started as a bar staff, like a waiter come bartender, and then like when I left, I was the manager. I was overlooking the whole, like we had some rooms. It's not huge. We had 20 rooms and a bar, restaurant, and a huge campsite where a lot of guys who were going to Masai Mara and so on would come and camp in these big trucks and then like move on because we were on the way. But it's also like it's really beautiful because you're by the lake. You have all this natural beauty. Like I could just wake up and go boating or go fishing. I love fishing. So I would go fishing every day. I would just take the boat out every day or whatever. Like it's just really nice. So it's a demanding job, but it's really fulfilling as well. So I did that in the city. I worked like for what we call a small, medium-sized enterprise, and it was pretty good as well. I guess because you're around friends, it makes a difference, and I could do like my music as well as my work. Like there was a clear delineation, between the two, which is a bit more difficult to achieve here. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now you work here, but are you still also doing a DJ?
Yes. So I kind of like after I got here, until we moved to Bratislava, I didn't do like any apart from like the first one or two gigs, I didn't do anything. And then after moving here, I started looking for opportunities, and I was actually really lucky because I met through my wife, who was already working at IBM, a couple of Italians called one Roberto and one is called Davide. Or is, sorry. And they no longer work for IBM.
So they were organizing events.
They had a company, and I played for them, and they liked it, and so we were doing really great, like really nice events. And then through that, I started getting bookings, like from those events. So like I'm really
for
thankful.
Private parties, for
like clubs, so we used to do this party at a particular club, and so the club owners, they liked the way I played, so they started giving me events. And then other people would come and hear, or just by chance, and I was really being aggressive in the sense that I would approach everyone that I could. So I just approach people and show them what I can do. And of course, not everyone listens, but like 1 in every 20 people would give you an opportunity. And so I would take these opportunities, and it started to go really good. And I can say like now I'm not as busy as I would like to be, but I'm pretty busy like with the music, especially in the city. I play most weekends, and I'm working on now going back to my initial passion, which was also like recording songs. And
so your
music.
own
CDs,
or your own
I have like I have my album on Spotify, but it's kind of like a bootleg album. I don't know who uploaded it to Spotify. So it's just a collection of my songs that I released while I was in Kenya, and I have some videos on YouTube. And so I'm getting back onto this and trying to make time for because I really like this. I really love this. So I'm really trying to make time for this. Yeah. Just one more thing I want to mention, because if somebody is listening to the podcast, I'm a turntablist. So I use turntables to create music from music that's already there. And I'm looking for someone else who is also into turntablism in Bratislava, because I haven't been able to find anyone. And so this is one thing that I'm missing.
Tell me more about
turntablism. So basically, it's playing music from turntables, which like DJs do. But using the vinyl records with the sounds on them to create new sounds. So most people know it as scratching, but
it's not
like,
only.
Yeah. So like this is most people's perception of it, but it's quite technical, and you can do really cool stuff, and you can create lots of really nice stuff through this. And so this is it's not something you would do in the club, but it's like a passion project kind of thing. So yeah, I'm looking for somebody like who shares a similar interest, because I would like to. It's always better to work off somebody else who kind of challenges you and pushes you, because like this, I haven't touched my turntables in, I don't know, 2 months. I haven't even touched them. So I need somebody,
challenge,
which I had at home,
together.
because when you hear somebody else and you're like, holy, like how did you if you can do that, I need to practice. I need to improve my skills because you will leave me behind. So so you keep challenging each other. Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? You know, and so I'm kind of looking for something like this. Yeah.
In case somebody knows, share this episode.
Yeah, that would be good.
And so, but maybe I can also put some links on wherever you do. So now, what kind of music you play? Anything?
At the clubs, just like what's played at the clubs, top 40, same like what's popular, the hip hop, Latino. But what I do is I add some Afrobeat. Afrobeat has become really popular here, but I have like a few tricks up my sleeve because I've been playing music for a long time, so I have like a really vast knowledge.
What are the right for the right moment?
And so I have some tricks up my sleeve, which like I unleash when the moment is right, you know. So I have some extra tricks, but generally in the clubs it's you're playing for the people. So at that moment you're a servant of the people. So you have to do what they want, and this is really one of the things that I really enjoy.
And are the DJ now getting a bit challenged by this new online? Spotify. Also people just vote for the song and it goes alone and
What's actually the way it's affecting us? That's a really great question. Like the way, in my opinion, the way it affects DJs is before, like the people or the audience would kind of trust the DJ to play what's right or take you in a direction, and you would kind of trust them to do their job. But now, with all these online services, everyone knows what they want to hear. And usually it's the same music generally that most people are listening to. So as a DJ, if you throw in something like what we call like a curveball, something that's unexpected, instead of like in the past, people would kind of appreciate it because you're showing them something new or educating them. Now they would be like, you made a mistake or you messed up. Like why did you do this? So it's in a way it's affecting I would say the general population's musical education, because then everyone's kind of listening to the same stuff.
And the top hit always.
Exactly.
First 100 songs and that's it.
And people will come up to me and why can't you play it off Spotify? Like they would request a song and sometimes I don't have it or I don't play it. Why don't you play it off Spotify? Or why don't you? And I want to say that, look, if it's on Spotify or YouTube, just put on your headphones and listen to it. But I never do. But I would I would want to say that. Because like nobody actually trusts you to do your job now. They want to hear it and they want to hear it now, like right now. If you don't play it now, then I'm leaving or like.
So something like there are two kind of DJs. So who is just there because has some equipment and just plays whatever the people want. But also there are folks that are a bit more into it, right? And they prepare the whole night. They know when it comes. They monitor, and also, I mean, the hardest part is actually to match the tempos, right?
Actually, now it's the easiest part.
Now it's easiest, okay.
Because now it's the easiest because you have like the digital algorithms. It does it for you. Okay. So like literally, this is the easiest part, and it's in a way it's good because I know how much it cost me like to buy the equipment and to get into DJing, and it was really expensive and it was difficult to get this stuff. So now I like that the entry level, the bar is set low. I like this because more people have a chance to experience and try, and through this you can get some really great performance. So I think that's good. But what's happening is because everyone thinks they can do it, everyone thinks they can do it. So I like to challenge people in that sense. So when I play, I always make sure that I have a little something extra because you want to show that a machine cannot do what you can do. Because if you play the same as a YouTube or Spotify playlist, then why are they paying you?
Yeah.
What's the point? So it's a challenge on you. You have to show that I am worth this. Like I can do something because I can play for any age demographic, and I know like I play for like youngsters, but if I see a couple of old people in the club or older people, I know what I'll play for them and make them go crazy. Or I know like which direction I'll do. So there is some extra that I can do, and there are some tricks I can like perform. I do some scratches. I do some tricks here and there to spice it up, because otherwise, just get aux cable, connected and knock yourself out. Yeah.
And how different is the night life in Kenya?
Oh
with
man,
the Slovak one, right? So,
I mean,
also the music.
Music is
preference.
You would be surprised. Like there's a lot of similarities in music, like in the bigger clubs, like in the general mainstream. But I would start with your first question, like nightlife. Like here, people there is a huge nightlife scene. People go out to the clubs and so on, but it's not really crazy. Like here, the definition of crazy is getting blackout drunk.
Okay.
Whereas at home, like people dance like crazy. Like when you walk into a club, the humidity hits you. Like really, like people are sweating, and you just feel like it's like some kind of animal emotion, You feel like, okay, I'm in like some kind of really a place that kind of takes you back, to like the beginnings of music, where everyone is just dancing and going crazy and having a great time, and of course people are drinking and so on, but like the dance floor is where the action is. It's like really insane. Whereas here, like people will dance on the dance floor and so on, but I don't know if they don't want to let go completely. Okay. Like they control themselves on the floor more, but it's more sedate than back home. Like there are people, like when you're dancing and you're having a great time. Like it's different on that level. You can see the difference in intensity. You can feel it. Having said that, people here I like that people here are more receptive to different types of music. Because in Kenya we have dominant music, so we have like music from Jamaica, like reggae, dancehall music is really huge. African music is really huge, and then we have hip hop and R&B is really huge, and some reggaeton, Latino. But if you would try to introduce maybe something a bit different in the club, unless you do it really, really well, it could mess up your whole night. Whereas here, people are a bit more receptive to something different. Like there is some kind of curiosity and interest in something that's a bit different, which I would say is like a plus on this side.
Okay.
People are more willing to listen to something else. But the top 40 mainstream music, you would be surprised. Like it's almost the same the whole world over, except for like now we play more of a certain type of music, or we have some African music which doesn't translate, to other areas or whatever, which we will play there. And also it really depends on the place that you're playing. But if it's the big clubs, you could pick a DJ from a big club in Kenya and put him in a big club here, and vice versa, and they would kill the night.
Yeah, okay.
And it would be like fine. So in that sense, globalization has really.
So the world of music gets. We understand it.
Yes. Better. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. It helped me as well. It helped me to like get into the scene, because I could play like what is hot here as well, because I was playing it back home.
Are there also songs, because for example, typical of Slovakia, there are not only the wedding songs, but also some several popular groups, right, that they're almost unknown anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
But they're really famous only in Slovakia, right? So you go and I don't know.
Like in Kenya?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. For sure. We have huge artists. Like we have like bands. Like if you would speak to any Kenyan or East African, for example, they know these people and they love the music and they would go crazy.
In Swahili or
yeah, Swahili. We have those that sing in Swahili. We have those that sing in more like different language, like their own regional language. Like where I come from, there are some songs which, like, if I played it, it would make people go crazy. But if I played it in maybe another city with a lower population of people from my city, it would not work at all. So it's quite normal. Yeah, it's there is this what I would call the devolution of musical tastes, for sure.
I connected with the words, right?
Yeah.
Like what you say makes sense as well.
Yeah, even the style of music, like different regions, they like different styles completely. Like some people like a really fast tempo or guitar driven music, and some regions prefer like a drum driven music, and but the thing is, then you have like the glue, like the really popular music which everyone likes. So this kind of keeps everyone together, and then if you throw in some of the regional stuff, you would just attract people from that particular area. Yeah, it's very interesting because it's so diverse. The experience of playing there, because I would play Indian weddings, I would play like African weddings, Christian weddings, Muslim weddings, Arab weddings, or Somali weddings. And white people weddings and events, and at every one I would play something completely different. And then I would play like for some corporates, because corporates have staff from every region, and every region, like, they want to hear their song. And I became an expert at the music from like literally every area of Kenya. Like I had to become an expert because I had to know, okay, we're gonna have maybe the CEO is from this region and the CFO is from this region, and
so you need to
I need to play. I need to play for everyone. So it's really interesting. Like I had like a crash course, and I was very lucky because the people who taught me, I learned in. I was playing in some like shady, like clubs when I was starting, but it really helped my musical education.
Did you also play in different cities in Slovakia as well?
Well, I played in Bratislava, Žilina. Played in Ilava, I think. Nove Zamky. I'm trying to think. No, I would say that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Mostly in Bratislava. Yeah.
Cool. And how is your relationship with the native Slovaks, right?
So, it's. I would say, like, if you drink, then you're fine with everyone in Slovakia. as long as you can take a shot of Slivovica, you're good with everyone. No, I'm good. I'm forcing myself to interact, like to integrate and to interact, because I'm living here. Like I'm not just here for a short duration. I'm not here for a work contract. This is my home.
Yeah.
So to make it your home, you have to force yourself to integrate and get out of like your comfort zone. And I really encourage like Slovaks to just speak Slovak around me, and then I try and join in the conversation. And I have my Slovak friends. So I think the only person who doesn't speak to me in Slovak is my wife. But everyone else does.
So your wife is mostly English, right?
Yeah, we have an agreement, like we agree, okay, you will speak to me. I tell her, you speak to me in Slovak, so at least I can comprehend and improve my comprehension. And she will say yes, and she will tell me maybe 2 sentences in Slovak, and then we're back in English.
I mean, when you start with one way, that's
yeah. So we don't have an argument, but I'm always like, hey, you need to speak to me in Slovak, and she's like, you need to speak to me in Swahili, and then we end up speaking in English.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's hard with I found out it was easier during Erasmus or student time where you had time to talk about whatever, right? Now, learning a language just with your peers and friends requires a lot of patience from their side.
Yes.
And, it has a price. This
patience, yes. Right? Because when you try and respond in Slovak, you're like, and I can understand their frustration. It's like, come on, like, let's finish this conversation.
No, it's true.
And so during Erasmus, were you learning or like studying Slovak?
No. My experience was in France, right? But I didn't speak French, right?
Yeah.
But when I was there, after 1 month, I mean, I'm Italian, so but the bases are very similar. But I started fluently speaking.
Really?
It was just more of by osmosis, talking every day, spending hours talking about
but
whatever.
The French will speak to you in French.
Yeah.
Like they will not speak to you in English.
They had no idea about English, many of them. So that was mostly French. Okay. Only that was the only option.
But it helped you, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the fact that you could only speak that language. And in all the time of the day, right? From the school to that lesson, a couple of lessons in French, to speaking with friends in the evening or during dinner and so on. You could, see the variety of the language and listen a lot because everybody was speaking French to each other. So at the beginning you were like, I have no idea what they're talking about. At one point you start sinking in, right? And then you get it. But I tried with Slovak as well, right? That was my impression. I'd be like, okay, if it works so easily with French, that after 6 months of Erasmus, I'm fluent in French, right? So it should work also for Slovak, right? So I came to Slovakia. No way. I waited a long time and it didn't come through, right? Even if I was trying. I wasn't trying perhaps equally, right? Because still with my wife.
Right.
But at the same time, the basis of the language are so different. That I started open up after I had a course in the university. So I went to the university. I did like 3 semesters, I think, where we went through the basic grammar and so on.
Okay.
And after that, I started understanding much more.
Wow.
Not speaking. I'm not a great speaker yet, right? Hopefully I will be one day. I still trust that.
I hope so.
But the understanding changed much more after the course.
Okay, wow.
Something like that. You started having the basis to build on it.
Yeah. It's a good feeling, like when that one day when somebody says something and you're like, hey, I completely understood. Like, it's a really great feeling. Wow. Okay. Because I beat myself up about it, like mentally, that I need to really force myself. But it is not an easy language. Like, it's not a straightforward language. I remember from the language class.
Not even for you to speak billions of them.
Yeah. This is the thing. Like, from language class, what I remember, the one thing that I learned from language class was they would say, okay, so this is the rule. And I would get excited. Okay, if there's a rule, I can remember the rule. And then they would be like, but there is always an exception to the rule.
Of course.
And then, so like literally every rule has an exception to it. And that's where like it was just like, okay, I can't keep up. I can't do this. But I'm actually planning, like my intention is in a couple of months to try one of like the more intensive courses.
Of course,
like I want to, because I think like I've been here almost 3 years and I think, okay, it's time to, and what makes it worse, I don't know if you've noticed this, but since I came, it's like I said, it's been only 3 years, but already I feel like more people are speaking English now than since when I came here. And they're more willing to speak to you in English.
It's getting harder and harder to find
yes.
But and your in-laws are...
my mother-in-law, she speaks Slovak and does not speak English. So initially, I was staying with her and we would speak Slovak and she really helped me like improve. And it was going so good. And then I moved to Bratislava and she started learning some English words. Really. And now when she speaks to me, before she would speak to me directly, and now she will speak to my wife.
Okay.
like if she wants to ask about something, she will ask my wife, like, does Ned want this? And my wife's like, he's standing there, just ask him. And she's like, I don't know if he'll understand. And I'm like, literally, I'm standing here. You used to speak to me only in Slovak. And she will try and tell me like the English word, like watch or phone or time. And I'm like, no, go back to the beginning. Yeah, really, because like I really appreciate that she's making the effort, but I want to know the language. And to be honest, like I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like as a foreigner, if you can speak the language to a intermediate level, let's say, you would have more opportunities. Like you would not be stuck working just for like corporates only. Like you could do other stuff as well, which you cannot do now because you cannot, or I cannot because I cannot speak the language, and it's limiting my DJ work as well.
Yeah.
Because when I approach people with English and so on, sometimes they're not so willing to respond, or they're just more comfortable speaking in their language, and I feel kind of bad because I'm somehow forcing you to speak in my language, and you don't really want to, and then what happens is like the relationship kind of fizzles out. So I feel like it will improve like my career as well.
I mean, I'm used so much to have whatever language during my days that it never bothers to use either one of those.
Yeah.
Right? But it's true that for some folks that they don't feel comfortable, English might also be a blockage, right?
I
feel so that's
how do you speak like with your in-laws then?
Slovak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wow, you're then way more advanced than I am.
But it's you can yet even if I get mostly full understanding when they speak, right? When I want to have a conversation about whatever deep argument that sometimes you would like to make. This is how I really think. You cannot. You don't pick the right word. Or like, okay, how can I say that? And you start very willingly, and then you stop at one point, and then you see the interest fade.
And that's
the
it.
Conversation.
That's it. Gone. Goodbye.
And I'm sorry for it, right? Or moments you are in the car with your father-in-law, you go on, right? And you start a conversation, and then you would like to build it up, and then maybe silence.
This is such a great observation, because this happens to me all the time. I participated in a DJ competition a couple of months back or something like that, and I did really good. So they picked me along with a couple of other people, and there may be 12 or 15 DJs. It's a huge company, and they all speak Slovak.
Okay.
So one or two speak English, but the rest speak Slovak, and they really want me to be a part of their conversation and their meetings, and I want to be a part of it. But they would start discussing something, and I'm following it as much as I can. And then when I think I finally got the concept and I want to say something, the conversation is moved on to something
time,
else.
Right? So,
yes.
Okay, this because you eliminate all the possible things that we are not talking about to get to the right one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and
you are slower. You cannot jump into the conversation.
Yeah. And then they moved on, and I'm like, oh, like damn it, because I want to be involved, but it's really difficult, and this is one of the things that's really driving me. Like I want to learn the language.
That's true. Well, good luck for that. I'm
sure
it's gonna,
it would be wonderful. Like have to make like enough time for this. Like there is no question.
Is there any language that is similar? The one that you know that is kind of similar with Slovak, or
actually, I would say some of the languages I speak not similar. Even Swahili, because in some senses, Slovak has the words somehow change. Like the form of the word can change depending on what you want to convey. And this happened. It's happening. Like there are some similarities even with Swahili, with some of the Indian languages, where the whole form of the word just becomes something else. depending on what you're trying to say. And that kind of helps my understanding of the concept, but doesn't really help me to actually be able to do it. But I understand the concept. I know why it's happening. And so in this sense, yes, I have an idea of the concept, but doing it practically, it's still a challenge. Yeah. Yeah, but language is the great uniter, so I'm hoping to be able to.
What about the food part? Like you?
Oh man, the food is amazing.
I mean, you talk about the street food of Kenya, and it's nice, but
yeah.
Take me through your favorite food in Slovakia then.
Here?
Yes.
Oh man, here this is a can of worms. I am a huge fan of food over here.
Okay.
I have. I would not say that I have like a strict favorite. One of my super favorites is actually there is the soup. I think it's pea soup, and they put in these little pearls, like the croutons, but not quite the round. Oh, I love that. And then there's tomato soup with cheese. Oh, that's another one of my favorites. Here, then obviously, like I like halushki if it has the bacon on it. I like it. Yeah. Man, what can I say? They literally everything, especially the roasts. Roasts are some of my favorite. In winter, there's this, I think it's called Sviechkova, yeah, with the knedla. Big fan of that. Man, there's actually the only one that I don't dislike, but I don't mind eating it only once a year, is the carp for Christmas. Literally.
Because you might, lose conscience or you it might be very dangerous to eat that carp for Christmas.
Yeah, so, this...
only like bones.
Yeah, exactly. It really... And I'm a big fish eater, like where I come from, but... that one, it's a very specific and acquired taste, I would say. But I would say like my number one favorite food is, it's maybe not, it's klobasa. Like I'm an addict.
Okay.
I'm completely addicted to klobasa and tlachenka and like these kind of
so the zabiaczko-witanie.
Dude, okay. I'm getting hungry already. Like really, these are like my favorites. But food-wise, the only thing that I do, like my own improvement, is I add chili sauce to almost everything I eat.
So you spice it up.
Yeah, but the food is great here.
And what do you miss from Kenya? Is there anything you bring to Slovakia when you come here?
Yes, coffee, tea. Coffee, yes, because we have the best coffee, like no question. Tea. I bring Kenyan tea, and also one thing that they do not have here is we have a staple food back home called ugali. Ugali is basically a cake made from maize flour and water. That's it. Like you just boil the water, put in maize flour, and create some kind of cake with like a cake-like consistency, and you use this as bread or accompaniment to your main meal. So if it's meat or beans or whatever, maize and beans, and this like we all grew up on this. This is our daily food, and we have this with spinach normally, or spinach and eggs.
So because it's not sweet in general.
No, it's not sweet. No, it's like bread, like savory. Put a little bit of salt if you want, a little bit of cumin or butter if you like, but generally just this, and it's what you use to scoop up, the food. And so every time my friends come or my sister comes or I go, I have to get like a couple of bags of that, because
the
maize flour,
right?
The maize flour, little like 2 kg bag of ground maize flour, because we don't get the same maize here. Here, it's usually yellow corn or like sweet corn. And the variety that we get back home, or I guess generally in Africa, I don't get it here. And tapioca or cassava, I really miss that, because we usually have roast just on a grill, roasted cassava, and it's so yummy and like cheap and really healthy food. Maize and beans. We have like really simple cuisine, but it's really tasty. And also like we eat a lot of goat. which here you hardly see it. A roast goat, like literally just made on the grill by the side of the road. Same with fish. So these kind of like simple kind of foods, I miss those. But I cannot complain like food wise, because here it's exceeded every expectation I had. Like for food, it's my favorite, and I'm really lucky because both my mother-in-law and my wife are like incredible cooks, and I'm a horrible cook, so I know like the difference. It's so I kind of hit the lottery with that, with the food question. Yeah, I've put on a lot of weight since I came here, really, a lot.
It also depends on, sometimes I think Slovak cuisine, even if it's very tasty and the tastes are quite strong.
Yeah.
I think that many of these dishes are not for everyday consumption. It's like they have way too much, right?
Yes, I know.
Particularly in certain kind of climates,
especially like they're good for for me for winter. It's like perfect, like heavy and fills you up and you have this vitality. Exactly. Yeah. And but you are right. Like if you eat this every day, oh man, you would become round like in 2 months.
You need to. Except if you just work very hard with your body.
Yes, really.
We are mostly sitting.
Yes, with this sedentary lifestyle.
Even DJs.
Yeah, really. You're standing. You're just standing. Yeah. It's like with this sedentary lifestyle. Like this is one good thing with being in Kenya. We're not very big meat eaters. Like okay, people eat meat and stuff, and now it's much more affordable, and it's everywhere. But generally, it's kind of. Most people will eat spinach or maize and beans or just beans and during the week or for your lunch or whatever, and maybe you'll have meat once a day or once every 2 days or 3 days. It's not like all the time. And here I think I'm eating more meat than I've ever eaten, like ever, because I would eat meat a couple of times a day, or like a really heavy meal. And it's so convenient to just go like to McDonald's or like the offers are incredible. I couldn't believe the prices.
How are the prices compared to between Kenya and here?
It's dirt cheap. Okay, comparatively, it's dirt cheap over here. Because, or maybe I'm just basing it on like maybe the kind of money I expect to spend. Because here, if I go and spend like €5 at McDonald's, I'm not really. It's normal. For me, whereas back home, like to get a good meal, which fills me up, I could spend like the equivalent of 50 cents, or let's say up to €1, and I'm completely like satisfied. So then to go and spend 5 or 6 euros in McDonald's doesn't make sense.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Because I just stop on the street I can get
so like McDonald's is like a luxury.
Yeah. It is. It really is. KFC especially.
Gosh,
okay. Because I can get a piece of chicken, like one leg or the thigh or whatever, like one whole piece of chicken. Like we have our own salsa which we call kachumbari. It's onions, tomatoes, chilies. Yeah, it's really like common, and the ugali that I mentioned, this whole thing will cost me €1.50 to €2, like the whole, and that's it's a lot. It's like a good meal, and that will cost me maximum €2. So if you go and buy like a burger and chips for €6, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so I guess I'm thinking of it in this way, but it's definitely more expensive. There, I don't know if McDonald's is actually started there, but KFC is popular. Nando's is pretty good. Like
so they are coming as well into.
Yeah. I think now we definitely have McDonald's.
So everywhere in the world you can always have the same. It's nice actually to go to the local.
Yes. And actually like. It's much tastier. Like you say, it's much more interesting. It's tastier. It's healthier.
And the stuff doesn't have to be taken in one place, packed in another place.
Really. Like I was reading up about how strict they are with their potatoes. Like they only come from one place.
The same thing.
And literally comes just from one place, like all the potatoes. and it's ridiculous. So it's nice to have this variety. And there are places in Kenya like where our food is actually grown, where you could eat for like next to nothing, and I mean literally next to nothing. Like you would be shocked how cheap it is, like to get, and like the bread baskets of Kenya, where we actually grow.
And also like one night as a DJ here compared to one night.
I made much more in Kenya.
Yeah,
no question. Like here prices are much lower.
Okay.
And it's just the market here. Like there are tiers. Like right now I'm unknown, so nobody knows me. So I get paid like every unknown. Back home I was much more known. But still, even like the people who are on my level here now back home, they would get more than the people are getting here. There is a bit more of emphasis, I would say, on the skill. Like if you have some skills, like you would get remunerated better. So yeah, definitely. Like maybe if I cross a certain threshold, then I could make more. Yeah. But from what I've seen and what all the clubs pay more or less the same to everyone. And you cannot really compare it. Like DJs back home are making more money for sure. At least guys who are working.
People dance more. Like crazy.
It's crazy. It's lively. Like
demand and offer.
If like where I used to play, it's insane. Like it was just it was like a crazy carnival every night. So a big difference. Yeah.
Do you already consider Slovakia your home?
Yes. Fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately because that's what I want. Unfortunately, because I'm kind of getting used to stuff that maybe I should, like, how comfortable it is just to get around, to travel, how easy it is, how safe it is to walk.
Yeah.
Like I would get a bit drunk and walk home at 3 or 4 in the morning from the city and not have to think twice about it. Like I'm not worried. I know I will get home. Like I just no stress at all. So I kind of get really comfortable, and I'm worried that when I will go home, I will forget, and like I will be as comfortable there as I am here, and then something will happen to me because I've become really used to this more sedate and more secure environment. Yeah. So I'm worried that I'll go home and
here is more secure.
Yes, especially like it's the reality. It's not like the nicest thing to say because like it's home, but yes, it's more safe here, and not just like getting robbed or anything in that sense, but even just in the traffic, car accidents or. Because everything is more policed over here, the departments in charge of like the transport and so on, they are really strict about what goes on and how the roads are being used and is everything working and so on. We can have traffic lights, but they never work. So people don't observe traffic rules, which is very different. Like from back home. So it's you could be affected in many different ways. Like for example, here there is a standard for restaurants to follow when they're cooking food. There you may walk into like a roadside shack or a really fancy place, and maybe somebody didn't use gloves or didn't boil the water. Like something happened, and you could get quite sick. So in this sense, there is a bit more of a carefree attitude back home. There are many reasons behind it. Like it's not just black and white. There are many things which affect it, but it's like the reality. So I can get really used to the nicer way of things here.
So you need to be less careful here. Let's say.
Like I'm less concerned. I'm less concerned. Like even if I end up like I don't know Petržalka. I don't know the streets there. I can end up there. Yeah, I get lost. I'm not even worried. Like I was buying some DJ equipment from a shop in Bratislava. So I got there and then I was looking for it. And I got completely lost, but I didn't stress at all. I just checked on my phone for the closest bus stop, which will get me to where I want to go, and I was fine. And I am somebody who gets lost a lot. So. Okay, now we have like Google Maps and stuff, but if it were to happen to me at home, like I would not be able to find a bus stop. Like to get me, I would have to find the route, maybe walk back all the way myself or, figure something out. So this kind of difference. So yes, I'm definitely like less concerned like about my safety or like somebody targeting me or something like that. Yeah, for sure. It's different in that sense. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one question before we close. It's how Ned changed after his Slovak experience? Like, what do you think about you? What brought to you?
Yes, there is
this journey.
Well, physically, I've become fatter. I've put on weight, but like really, it's opened up my mind. Because before I came here, I traveled, but internally. I had not traveled outside of East Africa. I had not traveled outside of East Africa before coming here. So I read a lot. So I had an idea of how the world is, and watching the news and everything. But still, I was not prepared for the difference. Like there is a huge difference in people's attitudes, in the way people. Relate to each other, in the way people even behave with each other in public and private. It's a huge difference, and the way people think. Like there is like some kind of group psychology or crowd psychology. You can just observe as you're walking around and so on. And here, I really liked it because I felt a bit free, a bit more free in the sense that. I could get lost in the crowd, or I can disappear and just become one of everyone and not worry about like standing out or everyone staring at me or in this sense. But I have changed personally. I have become more laid back in certain things. Like I take some stuff more lightly than I used to, like healthcare. Because back home it's very expensive to get good healthcare, really expensive. And here, it's not super, but still it's better than what I had, and it costs me much less. So I like this. So I'm not so concerned about this, and I'm just I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but I feel like I've improved as a person. Like. Even when it comes to work, interacting with people, I feel like I have changed and I've become more accommodating. Maybe I'm willing to listen more. I'm trying to integrate more. I'm trying to like make better networks. Like I have really changed from like what I was 3 years ago. There has been like a dramatic change, even in the way I talk to people, and sometimes it's good to be like completely outside your comfort zone, and then you can understand how maybe other people feel when you are like part of the majority and you're interacting with a minority, and when it happens to you, like it's good to reverse the roles. It has taught me to be a lot more I would say it has taught me to be a lot more reflecting. I'm trying to think about stuff in a different way than I used to. So it has improved me, like really improved me, and my life has improved in many ways because I have access to technology, toys like the music stuff, and I have access to everything that I could want because everything is usually here first, especially technologically and so on. Like we have great stuff at home, but usually everything comes out here first, and I have access to everything. And like I really like cars, so I went for auto salon, and I could sit in like every new car, and I could like play around with them, and I could do what I like. Like I have this unlimited access to parks, as we talked about earlier. I can literally go anywhere. I can go into the palace, like nobody will ask me anything. I have this freedom. So it has really changed me and improved me, and now I'm more thankful for what I've had all my life than I was, I think, when I was back home. Because you kind of have this blinkered view, and you don't see the forest for the trees, you know, like basically. So it has changed my outlook completely.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you, Ned, for sharing.
Thank you for being such a great listener.
And yeah, it has been very nice to talk to you.
Same.
So I wish all folks will at least look for all the links I put and maybe come and find and dance with you one of the evenings.
That would be good. It would be good.
Yeah, talk to you again, perhaps.
Yeah. It would be great. Thanks, Emmanuel. It was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to my Slovak experience. See you at the next interview. Till then, have fun, share, and enjoy. So, did you like my Slovak Experience podcast? If yes, you can share it with your friends and peers. They can listen it from many sources, such as iTunes, Stitcher, Tuning Radio, or Spotify. And now, you can also watch us on video while we are recording on YouTube. Thank you.